Hello, third grade. So I am going to continue on with Goa the Wise Fool. I finished about half of it last week, so we'll hopefully be able to get through the second half for this week. Cover again, just to remind you. And the next story is called Goa Goes Hunting Bears. One day, the governor of the town invited Goa to go on a bear hunt with him. He liked Goa's amusing conversation. Now, the truth is, Goa wasn't very keen on hunting bears. The idea made him shake. But when somebody as important as the governor invites you to do something, you'd better accept. So Goa spent a day climbing about in the mountains hunting bears. On getting back to town, Goa was asked by his friends whether the bear hunt had been successful. Completely successful, said Goa. How many bears did you chase in the mountains? One friend asked. None, said Goa. How many bears did you kill? A friend inquired. None, said Goa. How many bears did you see? None, said Goa yet again. But how then can you say it was a successful bear hunt when you didn't even see a single bear? Goa nodded his head as he replied, Friends, when hunting bears, it's best if you don't see a single one. And there is the illustration. That is a weird looking bear, that's for sure. Okay. Goa tricks the robbers is the next story. Goa was walking along a road near his hometown when two men jumped out from the bushes, threatening him with knives. Either you hand over your money or we'll kill you, said one of the men, pointing his knife at Goa's throat. As it happened, Goa had no money with him. He was about to tell them he didn't have any money, but realized this might enrage his attackers and make them cut his throat. You know, Goa said to the two robbers, today is your lucky day, because I am by chance carrying a large amount of money with me. The faces of the two robbers lit up with joy at Goa's words. And hand the money over and we'll let you go, they told him. Oh no, said Goa. I think that I should give the money to just one of you. Why don't you agree between you who should have the money? Immediately, the two robbers began shouting and arguing. All too soon, the argument turned into a fight with fists and kicks and then with knives. For a time, Goa stood and watched them, and then seeing that they were more interested in their fight than in him, he slipped away and continued his walk. Goa and the 20 geese. One of Goa's neighbors came to him. It was still morning. Goa, my friend, he said, would you be so good as to look after my geese for a few days while I am away on business? With pleasure, Goa answered. Just drive the geese into my yard where I can give them water and food. The next day, the man brought along his honking geese. There are 20 of them in all, he told Goa. I'll keep an eye on them, said Goa. But when the neighbor returned to Goa's house several days later, he counted his geese and discovered there were only 19. One of my geese is missing, said the neighbor. Goa, my friend. Perhaps you had one for dinner? If I'd done that, I would have told you, Goa answered him. Perhaps then a fox got in one night and made off with a goose, the neighbor suggested. Certainly no fox got into my yard, said Goa. When you drove your geese into my yard, you said there were 20. Well, my friend, then there are 20 still. The two men continued to argue, with the neighbor counting 19 and Goa insisting that there were 20 geese. The neighbor was growing very angry, certain that Goa had stolen a goose. Finally, he said, Let's go to the judge then. Let's see which of us is right. When the judge heard the problem, he scratched his beard. He knew the neighbor would not lie, and he knew Goa would not steal a goose. So he ordered 20 policemen to be brought into the courtroom at the same time that the geese were driven in. There are 20 policemen in front of you, yes? He asked Goa. That's true, Goa said. There are 20 policemen in front of me. Now, if each policeman takes hold of one goose, there will be 20 geese, said the judge. Yes, said Goa, that is true. Each of the policemen picked up one goose, but when they were done, one of the policemen was standing empty handed. The judge said to Goa, Goa, you can now see that one of the 20 policemen does not have a goose. What's the reason for that? The reason is simple, Your Honor, Goa answered immediately. That policeman without a goose is a fool. The geese were all there in front of him. What was he waiting for? Why didn't he do as the others did and pick up a goose? Uh, Goa refuses to. Oh, there's not a picture. Sorry. Goa refuses to say a word. Goa's wife did all the housework and cooking, washing their clothes, and 101 jobs around the house. Goa was responsible for the donkey. It was Goa's job to go out into the yard and feed the donkey twice a day. Today, though, Goa felt plain, tired, and lazy. We all have those days sometimes, right? You feed the donkey, he said to his wife, just for today. No, said Goa's wife, it's your donkey and it's you who are responsible for going out and feeding it. This started a big argument with Goa saying, it isn't asking too much of you to feed the donkey just this once. And Goa's wife saying, no, I have my own work to do. It's your donkey. Finally, Goa said, I have an idea. The first one of us to speak feeds the donkey. Agreed? Agreed, said Goa's wife. So Goa went and sat in a corner of the room, determined not to speak, while his wife did what she always did around the house. But it was so quiet. Feeling that she couldn't bear being in a house that was so quiet, Goa's wife decided to dress up and go for a walk. When she returned home, she found Goa still seated in the corner, not speaking. So she went out again, this time to pay a visit to her neighbor. Welcome, my dear, said the neighbor. The only reply Goa's wife made was to point to her throat. Oh, you poor thing. You have a sore throat. I'll make you some hot lemon and sugar. Goa's wife thanked the woman with a smile. It was only when she had drunk the hot lemon that she realized that Goa was alone in the house and hadn't had any supper. With movements of her hand and mouth, she made her neighbor understand that her husband needed something to eat. Ah, I understand, the kind neighbor said. I'll have my son go around to your house with a bowl of soup for him. During this time, a thief had entered Goa's house and had taken away everything of any value: pillows, hangings, a tea set, and more. He had noticed a man sitting in a corner who had not said a word, even when his house was being robbed. Before he left, the burglar went up to Goa and took away his large turban, his hat on his head. Still, Goa did not utter a word. So the burglar tucked the turban into the sack with everything else and sneaked away from the house. He had just left when the neighbor's son brought the soup and found Goa still sitting quietly like a shadow. Sorry, like a statue. Good evening, Sheikh Goa, said the boy, but Goa made no reply to his greeting. My mother has sent this warm bowl of soup for you, said the boy. Goa said nothing. Instead, he made sweeping gestures to show that the house had been robbed and pointed to his head to show that even his turban had been stolen. The boy, who was not very smart, thought Goa wanted the soup to be poured over his head. The hot soup flowed down Goa's face. Goa scowled furiously at the boy, but still did not speak. When Goa's wife returned and found the house upside down, her pillows, hangings, and tea set gone, and her husband sitting there with a bare head and soup all over him, she screamed, What is going on here? At these words, Goa's face broke into a triumphant smile. I won, he shouted out. Now you go and feed the donkey. Crazy, right? The thieves visit Goa. There's a lot of thieves in this book. In the middle of one night, Goa heard sounds in the house and realized that a thief was wandering around searching for something to steal. Goa climbed out of bed very quietly and hid in a cupboard. The thief moved around the rooms. Finally, finding nothing to steal, he came to the big cupboard. Smiling, he opened the cupboard door and saw Goa. The thief was surprised. "What are you doing here in the cupboard?" he said to Goa. "Pardon, dear sir, pardon," Goa said. "I felt so bad to know that you would find nothing in my humble house to steal that I hid myself in here out of embarrassment." That Goa is something, isn't he? Let me see. How many more are there? We are 10 minutes. Oh, yeah, we can finish up. Goa has the last word. This is another kind of longish story, longer than some of the others. Goa decided that he would like to go to the public baths. He had never been before, so he dressed in his rumpled everyday pants and shirt, and then he went. But the bath attendants looked down at him. They handed him a tiny piece of soap and a small, dingy towel. Goa liked the steamy baths, but while sitting around after having his bath, he noticed other customers wrapped in big fluffy towels, served glasses of tea and plates of cakes full of honey and nuts. But not him. Goa was not happy at the way he had been treated, but on leaving, he tipped each of the attendants with a gold coin. "Thank you very much, sir," they said, bowing down low. This man in his poor rumpled clothing was so generous. They whispered to themselves that if he came to the baths again, they would give him their very best attention. The following week, Goa again put on his rumpled everyday clothes and made another visit to the public baths. The attendants saw him coming and remembered how generous he had been. They treated him like a king. They gave him perfumed soap and a beautiful white fluffy towel. After the bath, they served him a steaming glass of tea and a plateful of delicious cakes. This time, on leaving the baths, Goa gave each of the attendants the smallest copper coin he could find. The men's faces fell. They were surprised and disappointed too. "You see," said Goa, "the copper coins I have just given you are for the first visit I made to the baths, when you treated me like a beggar. The gold coins I gave you on that first day were for the extra service I had today. Be careful not to judge people by appearance," Goa said, and he left the baths whistling. Don't judge a book by its cover, right? And two more stories? Three more stories. Okay, three more, and one of them's a little long. So I think I'm going to hold off. We're going to finish this book up next week. Take care. Bye bye.